If you're riding a motorcycle over 50, there's something you need to hear, and nobody says it out loud. You're not too old, you're not late to the game, and you're not taking a risk just because you didn't start riding at 20. But here's the part that matters: the way you ride has to change, or eventually, riding will change for you. Not because you're weaker, not because you're slower, but because experience, reaction time, recovery, and risk tolerance all shift whether we admit it or not. And the riders who ignore that, they don't usually crash doing something wild. They get caught by small, everyday mistakes that used to be harmless until they weren't. Today, I'm sharing 8 motorcycle safety tips every rider over 50 needs to know. Not generic advice, not just wear more gear fluff. These are real, practical habits that keep you confident, controlled, and riding for years longer than most. I'm Matthew from Autozium, and if you want to keep riding tomorrow, next year, and 10 years from now, this video is for you. Let's get into it. The first safety tip is accepting that reaction time changes and planning for it instead of fighting it. This is where a lot of riders over 50 quietly get themselves into trouble. Not because they're careless, but because they're honest enough to notice something's different and stubborn enough to ignore it. You don't feel slow. You don't feel incapable. You still feel sharp. And in many ways, you are. But reaction time isn't just about skill or experience. It's about how quickly your brain processes surprise. And surprise is what gets riders hurt. When you're younger, you can ride closer, brake later, and recover quicker when something goes sideways. Over time, that buffer shrinks, not dramatically, not overnight, just enough to matter when things happen fast. The mistake isn't aging. The mistake is pretending nothing changed. Smart riders don't try to outreact danger. They avoid needing to react in the first place. That means building margin everywhere. More following distance, even when traffic feels slow. More space beside you in traffic. More room before corners. More time before braking. This isn't riding timid. It's riding deliberately. Because when something unexpected happens, and it will, you want time to think, not just time to flinch. That extra second you give yourself, that's the difference between calm braking and panic braking, between choosing a line and freezing, between staying upright and scrambling. Experience gives you judgment. Margin gives you time to use it. And here's the thing most riders don't talk about. Riding with margin actually feels better. Less rushed, less tense, less exhausting. You stop feeling like you're constantly reacting. You start feeling in control again. That's not riding worse. That's riding smarter. The second tip is vision discipline, especially in traffic. This one becomes more important the longer you ride. Most riders think vision is about eyesight. It's not. It's about where your attention lives. A lot of experienced riders fall into the habit of staring at what's directly in front of them: the bumper, the brake lights, the lane markings. And when that happens, awareness collapses inward. You stop seeing the big picture. You stop anticipating. You stop noticing early clues. Vision discipline means your eyes are always working, even when traffic is boring. Looking far ahead to read flow. Checking mirrors regularly, not just when changing lanes. Scanning side streets before cars appear. Watching wheels, not faces, because wheels tell the truth. Over 50. This matters even more because traffic has become faster, denser, and more distracted than it used to be. Phones, screens, divided attention everywhere. You can't afford tunnel vision. The safest riders I know aren't the fastest. They're the most aware. They see trouble developing before it becomes a problem. They move early, gently, deliberately. They're rarely surprised. That's vision discipline. And here's the key part. Good vision slows everything down mentally. When you see farther and wider, the ride feels calmer. You're not constantly startled because nothing feels sudden anymore. You don't react. You respond. That's the advantage of experience, if you use your eyes correctly. The third tip is braking earlier and smoother, not harder. This one is counterintuitive, especially for riders who've relied on experience for years. A lot of seasoned riders trust their ability to handle it if something happens. They've braked hard before, they've saved situations, they've gotten away with it. But panic braking doesn't reward wisdom, it rewards repetition. When something goes wrong, your body doesn't consult your experience. It falls back on habits. That's why waiting until the last second and then grabbing brakes is risky, especially as we get older. Instead, smart riders manage braking before it becomes urgent. They roll off earlier. They brake sooner. They reduce speed gradually. That does three important things. First, it stabilizes the bike. No sudden weight transfer, no diving front end, no surprise wobble. Second, it gives traffic behind you more time to react. That alone prevents a ton of rear end close calls. And third, and this is huge, it buys you mental bandwidth. You're not rushed. You're not panicked. You're making decisions instead of reacting. Smooth braking is calm braking. Calm braking is controlled braking. And controlled braking keeps you upright. This isn't about being slow, it's about being early. The earlier you slow things down, the fewer emergencies you create for yourself. That's riding with foresight. That's riding with maturity. That's riding in a way that lets you keep riding for years to come. The fourth tip is never putting yourself in a boxed in position at stops. This one seems small, almost boring, but it's one of the highest risk habits riders over 50 quietly carry, especially if they took a break from riding or learned decades ago when traffic behaved differently. Rolling up to a red light and stopping directly behind a car feels normal. That's how cars stop. That's how traffic lines up. And if you've been driving longer than you've been riding, that behavior sneaks onto the bike without you noticing. But motorcycles don't survive traffic by blending in. They survive by having options. When you stop directly behind a car, centered in the lane, close to the bumper, you've removed every option you had. You can't move left. You can't move right. You can't roll forward. And if the driver behind you isn't paying attention, or simply stops late, you're trapped between 2 tons of metal with nowhere to go. That's not bad luck. That's bad positioning. Older riders sometimes assume their experience will save them here. They think, I'll hear it coming, or I'll react in time. But reaction time is exactly what we talked about earlier, and this situation doesn't give you much of it. The smarter habit is intentional stopping. Offset your bike to one side of the lane, not dead center. Leave space in front of you, real space, not symbolic space. Angle the bike slightly toward an escape path. Stay in gear. Watch your mirrors. This isn't paranoia, it's preparedness. You're not expecting to get hit. You're simply refusing to be helpless if something goes wrong. And here's the thing. Once you start doing this, it becomes automatic. You don't feel tense. You don't feel stressed. You just feel positioned, ready, in control. That's the difference between riding defensively and riding deliberately. At stops, you're at your most vulnerable. You're slow, you're stationary, you're surrounded by distracted drivers. This one habit, never boxing yourself in, removes a massive chunk of risk without requiring speed, strength, or skill, just awareness. The fifth tip is respecting fatigue before it becomes dangerous. This one is personal for a lot of riders over 50 because it clashes directly with pride. You don't feel old. You don't think you're tired. You've done longer rides before. So you push through. But fatigue doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't show up as I'm exhausted. It shows up as small changes you barely notice. Your throttle gets less smooth. Your braking timing slips. Your eyes linger a little too long. Your patience shortens. Your decision-making gets fuzzy around the edges. That's fatigue. And the dangerous part is that experience can mask it. You're good enough to compensate until you aren't. Riding tired isn't about falling asleep. It's about losing precision. And motorcycles demand precision. Older riders sometimes push through fatigue because they don't want to admit they need a break. They don't want to cut a ride short. They don't want to feel like they've lost something. But here's the truth. Taking breaks isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Shorter ride days, more frequent stops, hydration, stretching, walking around for 5 minutes. These things reset your brain far more than you realize. And here's something many riders don't expect. Riding less tired actually makes riding more enjoyable. You're calmer, more present, more connected to the bike. You stop muscling the motorcycle. You stop forcing decisions. You ride smoother without trying. The smartest long-term riders I know don't measure rides by distance anymore. They measure them by quality. They stop while they still feel sharp. They leave wanting more instead of pushing until they're dull. That's how you keep riding into your 60s and 70s. Fatigue isn't something to defeat. It's something to manage. The sixth tip is riding your own pace, no matter who's behind you. This one hits hard, especially for riders who grew up riding aggressively, riding fast, or riding with groups where pace equaled status. Pressure doesn't always come from the rider ahead of you. Often it comes from the rider behind, a tailgating car, a faster rider, a group pulling away, someone impatient. And suddenly, without realizing it, you're riding for them instead of for yourself. You enter corners faster than you wanted to. You brake later than feels comfortable. You stop enjoying the ride. This is where experience should help, but sometimes it doesn't because ego sneaks in. You think, I should be able to handle this. You think, I don't want to be in the way. You think, I've been riding long enough. But here's the reality: riding outside your comfort zone, even slightly, removes margin. And margin is everything. You don't owe anyone speed. You don't owe anyone pace. You don't owe anyone proof. The most confident move on a motorcycle is letting faster traffic go. Pull over, wave them by, slow slightly, create space. There is nothing unskilled about that. In fact, it takes confidence to say, this is my pace today. Especially over 50, riding your own pace is a form of self-respect. You know your limits. You know how you feel that day. You know when something feels off. Listen to that. The riders who crash later in life often aren't reckless. They're pressured. Pressured by traffic. Pressured by groups. Pressured by old versions of themselves. Ride who you are now. Consistency beats speed. Comfort beats ego. Control beats approval. And the riders who ride longest are the ones who stopped caring what anyone else thought about their pace. Tip 7. Ride the conditions, not the calendar. One of the most subtle mistakes riders over 50 make isn't speed. It isn't aggression. It isn't even overconfidence in the usual sense. It's assuming that because you've ridden for decades, you're automatically prepared for whatever the day throws at you. You've ridden in the cold before. You've ridden in rain before. You've ridden through wind, heat, traffic, bad pavement, and long days. So when conditions aren't perfect, the brain quietly says, I've handled worse. And that's exactly where trouble starts. Not because you're wrong, but because the equation has changed. The calendar doesn't matter anymore. The conditions do. Cold doesn't just make you uncomfortable. It tightens muscles you don't even realize you're using. Your hands lose subtlety. Your wrists stiffen. Your shoulders creep upward without you noticing. Reaction time slows. Not dramatically, but just enough to matter. And the danger isn't that you feel cold. The danger is that you don't feel how much it's affecting your inputs. Rain works the same way. It's not just traction, it's mental load. Your brain is now processing reflections, shiny pavement, lane paint, puddles, spray from cars, fogging visors, and unpredictable grip all at once. That's not fear. That's cognitive strain. Wind might be the most underestimated of all. Not gusts. Sustained wind, the kind that forces constant correction. Tiny steering inputs, nonstop tension in your core, a subtle fight that never ends. You don't feel exhausted while riding. You feel it when you stop. And riders over 50 often push through these conditions because they don't want to feel limited. They don't want to admit the ride feels harder than it used to. But here's the truth experienced riders eventually learn. Riding through conditions doesn't make you tougher. It drains the margin you rely on later. Fatigue stacks quietly. Your patience shortens. Your awareness narrows. Your willingness to adapt fades. You start missing little things. A car creeping forward, gravel near the shoulder, a tightening corner. Not because you're careless, but because your brain is busy managing discomfort instead of strategy. The smartest riders don't ask, can I ride today? They ask, how should I ride today? Shorter rides, simpler routes, earlier stops, lower expectations. They don't chase miles, they preserve clarity. And here's the part that matters most. Adjusting to conditions doesn't make riding less enjoyable. It actually restores enjoyment. When you ride within what the day allows, tension drops, focus improves, confidence returns. You stop fighting the environment and start flowing with it. Riders who stay in the game for decades understand this deeply. They don't ride to prove anything, not to themselves, not to others, not to the past version of who they were. They ride for tomorrow. Because longevity in motorcycling isn't about toughness, it's about adaptability. Ride the conditions, ignore the calendar, and you'll keep riding long after others quietly stop. Tip 8. Let smoothness replace strength. This is the tip that separates riders who fade out from riders who evolve. When you're younger, strength covers mistakes. You muscle the bike. You force corrections. You grip harder, steer faster, react sharper. And for a long time it works. You confuse effort with control. You confuse aggression with confidence. But as the years pass, the body sends messages. Quiet ones at first. Tighter shoulders, a sore lower back, hands that fatigue sooner than they used to. Riding starts to feel heavier, even when the bike hasn't changed. Most riders misinterpret this moment. They think they're losing ability. They think age is catching up. They think riding is becoming harder. What's actually happening is that the bike is asking for something different. It's asking for smoothness. Smooth throttle that feeds power instead of demanding it. Smooth braking that sets the bike instead of shocking it. Smooth steering that guides instead of forces. Smooth transitions that keep balance intact. Motorcycles don't respond well to tension. They never have. But when you're young, you can overpower that reality. Later on, the cost becomes obvious. A tight grip transmits instability. Stiff arms fight suspension. Rushed inputs upset traction. Smooth riders don't look fast because they're dramatic. They look fast because nothing looks rushed. Older riders who embrace smoothness often discover something surprising. Their riding actually improves. Corners feel calmer. Braking feels controlled. Traffic feels manageable again. They stop reacting. They start anticipating. Smoothness isn't passive. It's intentional. It means loosening your grip and trusting the front tire, supporting your body with your legs instead of your arms, letting the bike lean rather than shoving it down, choosing lines early, rolling on throttle with patience instead of urgency. This shift does something powerful. It reduces physical strain and mental noise. Riding stops feeling like a task and starts feeling like a conversation between you and the machine. And here's the real secret. Smoothness scales forever. Strength fades, reflexes change, but smoothness only gets better with experience. That's why some of the best riders you'll ever see aren't young and aggressive. They're calm, precise, and unhurried. They waste no movement. They carry no extra tension. They're not slower, they're smarter. Riding like this isn't about surrendering ability, it's about refining it. When smoothness replaces strength, riding becomes sustainable. Not just physically, but emotionally. You finish rides clear-headed, present, satisfied. And that's how riders stay riders. Not by fighting time, but by riding in harmony with it. If you take anything from this video, let it be this. Ride smart, ride aware, and ride in a way that lets you keep riding tomorrow. If this helped you, let me know in the comments. And if you want more honest, real-world riding advice, subscribe to Autozium. I'll see you in the next one.